Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tapio Pesala. I'm the Investor Relations Manager here at FSecure. I would like to warmly welcome you to our webcast today. With me today, I have our CEO, Mr. Christian Fredriksson, who will next run through the financials from the previous quarter and of the full year. After his presentation, we have reserved some time for questions, at which point you can unmute yourself to ask questions. Thank you for joining us today, and with that, I give the floor to Christian.
Yes, hi everybody, and welcome from my behalf as well. I'm going to run through our interim report both for Q4 2015 as well as for the whole 2015. And as you can see as the header, basically high demand for cybersecurity services and corporate security growth continues for us. That's maybe the key messages that we have from the quarter. So I'll just run through the quarter, the year, then the market review, a little bit what has happened there, business updates for us, and end with the outlook actually then for us. Now there's first a very important part for us in terms of how we will show our reporting in revenue split as a company going forward from this year. So we have typically, and in the history for 10 years, we have been showing operators and other channels in terms of our revenue split. And as you can see from here, the operators was in the last quarter 49% of our business, and the other channels, which is direct to consumer business as well as corporate security, was 51%. Now with the shift in our strategy, we are also now showing then the main parts of our business in a new way, and we will show the revenue in consumer security and corporate security. Consumer security will have within it now the operator business as well as direct sales. So consumer security products going through the operators to consumer and direct sales to consumers. And then we have corporate security, which is through resellers as well as corporate security directly to corporations, which includes then the services component and the consulting components going with our cybersecurity services unit. Today, we will also then for the first time show the numbers. So consumer security is 61% of our business and corporate security is 39% of our business, and the revenue split is hence like this. We are showing now in Q4 both ways. So you can see the old way and the new way, and then going forward we will actually only show the new way when we continue now in 2016. So let's look at the financial highlights. Here on the left side you have the quarter, fourth quarter from October to December, where we show a revenue growth of 13% year on year. Our consumer revenue grew by 3.5% and then the corporate revenue by 31%. This is, of course, a strong number in terms of the corporate security revenue growth, but it, of course, is based on both organic and acquired. So you have to remember we, of course, acquired NSense last year, so those numbers are now coming on top of the organic growth in that quarter. Our EBIT, the non-IFRS EBIT, was 5.9 million euro, which is 15% of revenues. This is included a write-off of receivables that we had of 1.4 million, which we took in as a hit here in the quarter as well, which goes into our non-IFRS EBIT. Full year, the revenue growth was 7%, where the consumer's revenue was pretty flat, plus 2%. This was mainly driven by the direct business revenue growth, both for the quarter and the year, whereas operator business was flat. Corporate revenues grew by over the year over 18%. Once again, both the organic and the acquired from the NSense acquisition from last summer, so which was with half a year in our books, right? And here the EBIT non-IFRS was 15% of revenues as well. With all these numbers, we were well within our guidance for the year. There are a couple other highlights that I wanted to go through. One is, which I will look at a little bit more, is that we have amended our strategy, which is moving from endpoint antivirus and selling to consumers in main, but also according to the last moves, we are now clearly after selling of the content cloud business, acquisition of the cybersecurity services, we are clearly have moved ourselves into selling to enterprises and a much more broad portfolio, and we are hence selling consulting services as well as coming in new products in the advanced threat protection area. So basically this shift into enterprise or corporate security is seen in our strategy strongly, and we are now gunning for, and we want to become the leading European cybersecurity company. And that's our key target for us going forward. Now, we also had in one of the other topics here is of course that we have the board planning to propose for the AGM the distribution of 6 cents per share as a dividend and an extra dividend of another additional 6 cents per share. This is based on our very strong cash performance, and even if we are going to continue looking for acquisition targets, we have enough cash, so it's no point keeping more in buffer than is needed, so we are putting some of it out there into the owners. There's of course one bad news for us in terms of the fourth quarter, which made that our EPS went to 0, which is that we have received a debit decision relating to the foreign tax credits. So this was something that the tax authorities in Finland have basically earlier. We had the right to withhold some of the taxes. This is all the way from 2009, 2010 and 2011, and it's a substantial amount for us. So we basically are getting back payment after the change of the tax authorities' ways of looking at this, and which we disagree with, and I feel this is absolutely not the right way for tax authorities to be this aggressive in collecting old and changing the ways things are. We would like to have it predictable. We of course are looking for predictable capabilities to plan our business, but basically this led to an amount of 3 million euro and including a 900,000 late payment interest, which is of course a substantial amount in terms of interest with today's interest rates as well. Altogether 3.9 million euro, which we had to take into the numbers in our fourth quarter. So if we look at the revenues here, you can see the numbers going to 38.9, and you can see, as I said, the EBIT included EBIT in fourth quarter included 1.4 million write-off from receivables that we do not believe that we will be able to get. And then we have deferred revenues. As you can see, a very strong growth there, which shows that the license sales, more than 1 year license sales, is going well in the corporate security business, and hence this also impacted, of course, our cash flow, which became very strong. As you can see here, our year-end cash, if you look at the right-hand side, you can see we went all the way of 14 million more cash in the fourth quarter, going from 80.5 to 94.4 million euros in cash at the end of the year for us in terms of our net cash position. And of course here on the left side you see the cost, which also includes the Ensense transaction related items and other increase that we have done in marketing, for example, to drive the corporate security growth for us. Shortly on what we aim to do in terms of what's happening in the market as well. 40% increase in the advanced attacks and in all kind of enterprises in the security business, and of course that means that the cybersecurity capabilities are more relevant than ever. Defending is not enough alone, even if actually over 90% of the attacks are going through a malware as of today still, but that's not enough. So you need to have the advanced threat capability or blocking capability or finding capability for that as well, and that's what we have expanding into the enterprises and the mid-size business. And you can see here that the advanced attacks tend to go to the high-tech companies or the technology advanced companies, where they are more adapting more also into security solution, and then it goes down into mid-size business and consumers with a certain intervals as the attacks get, of course, copied down the line, so to say. But that also means that we need to be in where the most advanced attacks are. That's the place for us as a company to be able to use the skills that we have and the high-tech capabilities and hardcore security, cybersecurity knowledge that we bring to the table. You see, of course, some of the top breaches. This is only some of them with the insurance company Anthem, Ashley Madison, site, as you are well aware of, I'm sure, with many of these showing how much more attacks there are. As I said, about 40% increase in the attack scenario overall in the enterprise segment or the corporate segment. One part of also for driving our change in strategy in terms of going for more outside of just the PC and mobile is actually all of the connected devices, and how do we solve the security of the home when there are so many of connected devices coming into the world at the moment. And you can see here from 2015 to 2020 the increase of connected devices going from 13 billion to 33 billion, the number of smartphones from 2.6 to 6 billion, number of PCs staying flat. So this shows you also why you need to shift in terms of our strategy, going for more of the understanding and more and multiple connected devices that are there going to be in the offices as well as in the homes, right? And if you just look at the complexity of this, because obviously all these connected devices, basically almost none of them are thinking security from within when they build. It's not part of the culture or the planning hypothesis when these products are built and delivered to consumers and corporations. So there's a lot to do, and it will be very hard to build security into these products so that you actually start selling separately. We do not believe in that, but you have to be able to cover the whole home or part of the office to be able to really protect either small businesses or consumers. Here you see this is a Gartner view on some of the market growth, and as you can see, the consumer security, which is on the bottom, the black one, is going to be even constantly across this time, the strategy period for us, seen as flat, so about $6 billion, whereas as you can see all the way from 2015, roughly $40 billion is the rest. The corporate security business is growing all the way to $60 billion, so quite a good growth in that business. Also one reason for us to shift strategically more into the enterprise and corporate segment, both direct and through the resellers, and expand our cybersecurity portfolio into that, and then bring our capabilities to continue also supporting the consumer, even if the growth is expected to come from the corporate security. At the same time, because we aim for a European cybersecurity leadership and we see such strong traction for us now in the corporate security space, and flattish when it comes to the consumer area or slight growth, so then we are also recruiting strongly. So we are going to recruit over 100 new employees this year, and that's a big investment for us. Of course, finding talent is going to be one key task for us to be able to answer to this need that we have and maximize the commercial impact of our technical expertise as well as the multiple sales channels that we have. We are looking in the corporate security area for selected European markets and Japan to start with, and then in cybersecurity services where we have consultants and the ethical hacking team, we are looking at Northern Europe and selected verticals. The selected verticals for us have been so far and continue to be at the moment the financial institutions, which includes of course the banks, it includes the online gambling, gaming companies, it is also aviation and bigger global brands, and then finally also the defense and law enforcement segments. So these verticals are the ones that we are going for, and when it comes to cybersecurity services, where we are building a direct channel for us as well, starting with this area, Northern Europe, and that's the main focus to start with. It's just a limitation of how fast we can expand in this space. And of course, consumer security we do not see at the moment. It's being flattish, but we aim still for profitable growth where we can drive it and find that capable for us either with the new products that we have, Commit for Freedom or Sense, but then of course working at a lot still with safe multi-device and driving together that with the operators, which is a great channel, a great partners for us to have. So let me go through a little bit on corporate security and consumer security separately still, so you see what happened in the quarter and a little bit about the geographical and technological issues there. Overall, as I said, a good quarter for the reseller business, actually a record quarter, all-time high historically for us, and especially in our investment areas, Germany, Japan, North America developed particularly well for us. I'm very pleased with that performance. The customer and seller and reseller satisfaction on NPS is clearly exceeding or at par with the best of competitors, and that's seen in our renewal rates and our capability to retain the customers, of course, which is important in this part of the business. And then the demand for cybersecurity services is extremely high. So we have strong growth both year on year in the terms of the pro forma of the NSense and now the cybersecurity services, as well as quarter on quarter. It is of course true that the last quarter, the fourth quarter, is always the strongest quarter in this a bit seasonal business, so that's why also that needs to take into account that Q4 is supposed to be a strong quarter as well. It's Q2 and Q4 that are in this business stronger, and Q4 is especially strong. We did very well also in our vulnerability management tool and assessment tool. So Karhu, for example, is progressing well. I'm very pleased with that one. Now we continue then to invest in the corporate security. As I said, we will recruit over 100 people. That includes salespeople, developers, and security consultants, which we are doing in this corporate security business for us. And we will do those in the verticals and countries that I just mentioned, as well as from a development point of view. I'll show you what we're doing in the advanced threat protection, which is an alarm system in a way for corporations. So this is a solution under development, which we will come out with an expected launch in the first half of this year. We have pilots going on, and we feel very good about how the pilots are developing for us and the capability for us to find things that have not been found before. So the system gives an alarm when there is an attacker or a hacker inside the corporation, and then we can respond to those. And because of our skills, we are basically able to know how a hacker moves, how they hide, and how they try to get information out of the corporation. So here you see basically how our portfolio, this is a very typical way of looking at portfolio in 4 categories: prevent and detect, which has been more of where we have been, especially in our consumer offering. And then we have added now respond and predict, which is of course more of a full portfolio for us. Not to say it's a very wide portfolio, it's very focused still, but now we are in all the categories, so we can go to larger corporations, mid-size corporations, as well as take our products into the consumer market. And then there is a big difference in the terms of services and the breadth of portfolio depending on the size of the corporation, or then of course if you go to consumers. And you can see here that in the advanced threat protection arena, here we are driving then together in these categories: detect and respond, cybersecurity. It's an alarm system which basically gives us the incident detection and then a response service platform. And we will have our own security monitor and alerting, as well as incident response capabilities there. Very interesting, exciting new area for us, I have to say. We look forward to this one, as I said, but only we expect this in the first half. We have now 2 pilots going on, and we're looking at getting the product ready and the whole service out there. Now let me go over to consumer security, where the direct to consumer, the direct sales to consumer, is the one that delivered growth to us. The operator revenues were flat, and safe rollout continues with the operators, and we have of course continued with Freedom to increase its share of revenue. We have passed over 3 million downloads, and if you look at then of course for Freedom, we have a couple quite a few new significant partnerships, whether it's with the global device manufacturers like the PCs with Acer, or the TCL Chinese Alcatel combination from mobile perspective, where we pre-install Freedom. This will be to millions of devices. And then also new retail deals signed in the Nordics, which is Expert and MediaMarkt, where we have also getting Freedom into the offering. And in the first delivery is expected in the summer. It's going to be a very interesting new product for us, the FSecure Sense, which we announced in November here in Finland, in Helsinki and Slush. This is a product that will protect the whole of the household, and you don't have to worry about which product. Is it the TV or the washing machine or the PC or the mobile, but it will protect all of it. It's kind of redefining how internet security is being done, and including the cyber element into it as well, with security from the cloud, everything home protected, and then when you go outside of the home with the devices, they are also protected. So going towards the $6 billion market, which is the consumer market in the whole security business. And here you see how the Sense works. So basically, at home, the traffic is routed through FSecure Sense. So we take the traffic, we encrypt it, and we also then get into that on protecting all the devices, either through own or operator provided router. This is where the FSecure Sense comes in between, and that's how it protects. On the top part of the slide, you can see how it protects basically the whole home. And then if you go outside of the home, then you see on the bottom half of the slide, then the Sense app provides security and privacy in terms of encryption, as well as full protection for whatever, whether it's a laptop, a tablet, or mobile phones that you move outside of the home. Then we will have a little bit of software as an app inside with the product or the endpoint itself. That's a bit how it works and how it protects both the home as well as when you move outside. And you don't have to think about your TV or the thermometers or whatever is connected to the Wi-Fi or internet. You don't have to worry about that anymore and think about specific softwares or supporting or security solutions for those. Now, that was a fairly fast run through a little bit about where we were in terms of the numbers for Q4 as well as 2015, and then also where the market in terms of consumer security, the new way we report that, and then corporate security and what the big investments that we are doing, and how we drive for especially growth then in the corporate security for us. Now, if I look at from that then into the outlook for 2016, we have changed also not only the reporting of revenue in these two categories, but we also show differently now the outlook for us. Taking into account all the investments that we are doing, and actually also looking at acquisitions, we have made it so that our outlook for 2016 in terms of revenues, we anticipate the overall security revenues to grow compared to the year before. Now, this is more loosely defined than before, and the reason is simply that with all of the new products, whether it's the ATP or the Sense coming into the market, investing and getting in over 100 people into the company, we see that there are more uncertainties in terms of trying to see where the cost and the revenues will hit. So that's why we're giving a more loose. Overall, we expect the revenue growth to continue, especially in the as we have seen in the second half of the year, last year, in cybersecurity services, and we expect the corporate security products, especially here the protection service for business from our cloud solution, sold through a reseller channel, to grow, and direct-to-consumer sales to continue growing as well with the safe offering as well as freedom. Now, you have to remember 49% of our revenue was through operator channel, and we expect that to remain largely flat in 2016. So this is what the sales outlook is based on. Now, when it comes to EBIT, last year we used the non-IFRS EBIT, which did not include extraordinary items such as the cost of NSense or some of the portions of NSense which needed to go in the EBIT number but were not part of the non-IFRS. So we are now taking all of those extraordinary costs into the EBIT number. We do not report or give a guidance. We don't give a guidance on the non-IFRS anymore, but just the EBIT number, which includes then, in this case, for example, for 2016, a 3 million part of the NSense acquisition, which will come into the number as well. So this EBIT now includes the extraordinary items, and the outlook on EBIT for continuing operations is estimated to be between 17 and 21 million euros in 2016. And this is, of course, the frame that we give for this year. And the final word, that we have taken in all of these costs into the company's profitability guidance. And this is in line with the principle that we will prioritize growth over short-term profitability. And that's, of course, the way we try to put the gas forward for us in driving growth and more growth for the company now. Thanks a lot. That was all from me in terms of the numbers in 2015, market, what we have done in the segments consumer and corporate, and then finally also now guidance, once again guidance We expect the revenues expect the revenue-wise to see growth, and we expect 17 to 21 million euros in EBIT for 2016. Thanks a lot, and it's over for questions. If you have any, you need to mute, by the way. Unmute if you have any questions. Once again, thanks for joining. I wish you a good day or evening wherever you're calling in from, and I will see you in the next quarter. Take care. Bye now.